So let's talk about character sets. And the reason I love character sets is it allows me to go through, and when I set a keyframe or hit S to set a keyframe, I don't have to worry about what I twiddled with. So for instance, if I come to this frame and I'm going on, grabbing my controllers, etc., rotating them, doing whatever, I'm like, oh, this is a great pose. And I really get into the drawing of it, which would be way better than this one. There we go. And like, oh my gosh, what did I select? Now, on some rigs, it's easy enough to select all the controllers, and that's totally fine. On some rigs, it's not. So instead, I have character sets down here. You can see this is in a character set called Flower Sack Thread. If I hit S, it's going to set 260 keyframes on all those different channels. So now if I go through, you can see I set that keyframe and nothing was selected. So let me show you how that's done. First, I'm going to get rid of the one I've got. So what you first have to do is select all the controllers. In this case, it does work that I can draw a box around it. And other ones you have to very carefully select with your shift key and have Q on, Q or select, and select all the different controllers. And here's what I mean. So for example, if I select this one, I'm only selecting that little potato chip right there. These are green, but they're not really selected because they're a child of this. So instead, I would have to select this one, hold down shift, click, click, and select each one. Now each one is selected, right? So there's a difference in that. So many rigs, if you can't select all of the controllers this way, they will have something in the outliner like a selection set where you can select it. For instance, here's a selection set, and I can select all of these here as well, right? So yes, you could select those all and hit S, but character set. All right, so I've got all the controllers selected, and then up under the animation submenu, I'm going to go to key, create character set, and the little option box here. I'm going to make sure it says all keyable, and this is Frankie. Sure. All keyable. And so two things happen. One is down here, it puts you into character set mode. You can see it. And yes, you can have more than one character set. You can also have sub character sets, which is a lot of fun, but mostly just character set for now is what I'm going to cover. And no matter what I have selected, it's going to show me the keyframes for that character set. How I know what's in the character set is it has also made everything yellow. So a quick calisthenics to do is to go through and make sure that all of your controllers are yellow. There we go. And the bottom one I don't have in there because it is not really something that's to be animated. But let's say, for instance, I did want it in there. And by the way, this is Flower Sack by Joe Daniels. Everyone uses this one out there. You can search for it. It's a fun rig. All right, so if you have something and you want to add it to the character set, so for instance, this, it's not yellow. I'm in character set mode. Sadly, it's not there. I can double check if I look in the outliner. There's my character set, and I can see all the attributes that have been added. And this one is not one of them. If for some reason you can't see your character set here in the outliner, sometimes that happens. You can do show all, for instance, or you could also go up to, go away, key, no. Let's go to Windows, relationship editors. There is a character sets editor. I don't use it a whole lot, but you can go here if you're just hard pressed to find your character sets, and there they are. And you can delete them and add them, etc. Okay, but the question is, how do I add something to the character set that's been created? All right, so you're like, oh, I want this controller, sure. And I'm going to go to key, and I see this thing that says add the character set. Surely that works. It does not. If I look down here, it's giving me some error message puking because it doesn't know what we want. It doesn't know attributes. What attributes do you want to have in there? Remember, if I look at the outliner, those are attributes. Here's the bottom arm dot translate Y. That's what it wants to hear from us. So here's what we do. We come over here and we select the attributes. Sure, I'm just going to turn them all, select them all. Now when I do key, add to character set, they turn yellow. Inversely, key, remove from character set, and it's going to remove those attributes there. So usually what happens is, as you're going along, and let's see, I'm going to break this for a second. I'm going to take away those controls. Remove from character set. You're going along, keyframing something, and you get down to another pose. Let's see, I'm going to take this pose, middle mouse click, and hit S, just so I get a copy of that frame. Okay, so I'm expecting this keyframe to land over here. Well, that's not right. It's just jiggling. Okay, well, I'll come back, I'll select this, and I'll rotate. Now, if I hit S right now, it will set a keyframe on the character set, but also on whatever I have selected. So you might not know that you have an issue. Do you see the hint? Look over there in the channels box. See it? It's red means there's a keyframe on this somewhere, but it's not yellow. So that's not in the character set. Now, if I click off of this, because I'll twiddle with something else and I'll make this a really nice pose, we'll pretend, look, there's a silhouette. Now I'll hit S. I'm on frame 14. I'm in character set. Should be right. But the second I move, it pops back. And that's because I'm not actually setting a keyframe on this. This is not in the character set, right? So if I select this, add to character set, I'm gonna have to redo that pose a little bit. Touch your toes, there we go. I'm gonna deselect it just to prove to you. Hit S. And now I've got that pose. From here to here, now it sticks because everything's in the character set. Now, other things that you can do to do character sets or to do keys is, yes, if you have something selected, even if it's not in the character set, I'll pick it out. So there, it's not in the character set. Most of it isn't, but I've got it selected. If I hit S, that's going to set that key on that controller and also in the character set. So you can kind of accidentally set keyframes on things that aren't in character sets if and not realize you have a problem. So a good thing to do is set your character set and then just quickly just do a check, make sure that everything's set up there. Okay, and that should get you going for your animation of fun. So many things I could show you here. I will tell you one thing, and I'll just shove it in this video. I do notice this in beginning animators. Here's a fun gotcha. Be very careful when you're rotating things or moving things, and you're selecting multiple controllers, and you got the shift key on like a good animator. Notice, I won't do it just because I'm talking to you. There it is. See that clone? Oh my gosh. If you're holding shift down to select things, I'm in Q, so I don't see it. But I see my students do this all the time. Q, I don't see it, but I'm in W, or I think it's rotate, you get it the most. You get an E? Yes. If you get your cursor near the manipulator and you have shift held down, you get this bonus where you can clone things and they're useless. That's a drag. Don't do that. Okay, so be careful with your shift key. Make sure you don't see that clone button, because ultimately what you can do is clone an invisible, useless controller set. Bring that where you can see it. Super fabulous.